Then another round of freeway closures, how you can avoid traffic tie-ups this weekend. Thanks for joining us at noon. I'm Ty Brennan in for Troy Hayden. The first defendant in Arizona's fake electric case is arraigned in court.
John Eastman, one of 18 people indicted by a grand jury.
You're watching the best Fox 10 News.
We do want to get to a Fox 10 News alert tonight in surprise. Police say a baby has been shot multiple times, flown to a nearby hospital, and just moments ago, the house where this all occurred went up in flames.
There is a huge police response there now, as well as fire, as you can expect. This is happening near Cactus Road and Cotton Lane, just off the Loop 303. Sky Fox flying the scene right now. You can see the wisps of smoke. That home has been completely leveled by the fire that ensued after this, what really turned into a baby being held hostage situation, and the mother escaped. Fox 10's Brian Webb now live with where this is all unfolding. Brian, you still see the gray smoke, the fire nearly out now, but what a horrific situation.
Oh, it just got uglier as the day went on. I don't think anyone saw this coming. The fire, as you said, let me give you a ground view of it, still sparking a bit here and there. It broke out around 3 o'clock. Mostly white smoke now, as you said, but it burned maybe 20 minutes before the fire department hit it with water. This standoff itself is in its 4th hour. We heard flash bangs and bullhorns before the fire and several pops during the fire. No word yet how the fire started or if the suspect is still inside. So the trouble started around 3 a.m. Police say a woman and her baby were held hostage in their own home after the baby's father broke in. The mother managed to escape at around 11:30 and got construction crews to call 911. When officers arrived, they heard gunshots coming from inside the home and, fearing for the baby's safety, forced their way inside. Police say the baby has several gunshot wounds and was flown to the hospital in serious condition. At that point, officers did not make contact with the suspect. They believe he was hiding somewhere inside the home, and they were trying to negotiate with him to come out peacefully, at least until this fire broke out. So a handful of, this is a new build area. Not a ton of residents out here, but there are a few. Several were evacuated. Others were escorted in, at least for a while before the fire started. Others were just told to stay back where it's safer. And we've talked to a few people who just heard about what was going on and came to see it for themselves. But again, a hostage situation, a baby allegedly shot by his father several times in serious condition. And then late this afternoon, this fire breaks out at the house. I think you might be able to make out the SWAT truck, that tan-colored truck right near the house. I'm not sure if that's the front or the back, but, you know, right up on the scene. So they were right up in front of the home trying to negotiate, blasting the bullhorn, flash bangs as well. We heard all that just before the fire broke out. And then now it looks like it's the fire is toward the end. But guys, that's what we know so far. We hope to have another update from police at any moment.
Brian, can you talk briefly about the rescue, what you know about the rescue of the child? Police were saying this baby is believed to be about 6 months old, according to the mom. Now, they went in and they were able to get the child out of the home. They did say the child had gunshot wounds, but did they make any kind of contact with the suspect? Did they have eyes on him? Did they see him at all, or did he fire at officers?
No, again, when they heard the gunshots go off, fearing for the baby's safety, they forced their way into the home, got the baby out of there, started CPR. The baby was flown to the hospital. At that point, they did not make contact with the suspect. They just were worried about the baby at that point. So they cleared the house, took care of the baby, and then tried to start negotiations with this man. We don't know if he started the fire, although obviously he's accused of being violent already. We don't know that yet, and we don't even know for sure if they were able to make contact with him, although police did say they were trying to reach him by phone as well.
Brian, is it possible that after shooting the child and the officers heard those gunshots and then made entry to try to rescue a child in imminent danger, is it possible that he took his own life in that period and that the fire is just kind of an ancillary part of this story?
Well, that's a good point, too. He did have a gun in there and had apparently shown the ability to use it. So did the fire cover up some things, or was the fire his way out, or did it somehow start accidentally? I don't know how explosive flashbangs are, to be honest with you, but things just escalated and got worse and worse. And we did hear police trying to talk to him on the bullhorn, and they said they were trying to reach him by cell phone. We don't know if he ever responded or if they ever got in touch with him, and then this all hell broke loose.
What was the situation like for firefighters when they first got there? Because the assumption was, to my understanding, when they arrived on the scene to this fire, there was still a man inside, dangerous, armed. Were they, back a ways from the home, or did they immediately start on this fire and fighting the flames?
Yeah, I want to be careful with this. We saw at least one fire truck at this little command center here about a block away from the home. But then when the fire started, we counted 20 minutes before they started putting water on it. Now, clearly, they need to look out for their own safety.
Yes.
Was that part of it? We also heard other fire trucks with sirens coming from outside the neighborhood as reinforcements. So that's why I started this with, I don't think anybody saw this coming, because it escalated so fast, and it seemed like it took a beat or two or 20 minutes for water to hit that fire. Of course, there's a lot happening back there.
Right.
You don't want to put firefighters in harm's way either. So that's at least the time frame of how it played out.
Yeah, Brian, are neighbors out in the area as well? Have you been able to see anyone or talk to anyone? I know that this area a lot of these homes are new builds, right? This is a new neighborhood.
Yeah, we can pan the camera a little bit and show you some of the people from the neighborhood. Yeah, this is almost, I don't know, half of the homes look like people live in them. Half of them still have, shingles on the roof ready to be installed and that kind of thing. But definitely people live out here, and we've talked to several of them. One lady said she just moved in this week, and she doesn't want, her house isn't necessarily right near the one burning, but she doesn't want to go anywhere near there. She said, I'm staying with police. I have a young son in the back seat of the car. I'm just fine right here. And like I said, other people just maybe heard from our coverage or online what had happened, and they just wanted to come see it for themselves. But the fire and all that is one thing, but when that's, of course, the focus of all this is a baby being shot, and that's what police had on their minds when they went in there at first, and has dictated what's happened ever since then.
Yeah, I think you laid it out perfectly. Fire isn't going to respond immediately if you've got a guy in there with a gun who poses a threat to them. So the other question would be, Brian, you said that there were either flashbangs or maybe tear gas that went into that home. That could touch off a fire. We've seen that in the past historically. I mean, obviously Waco comes to mind, and situations we've seen. So that could have been the cause of the fire, or the man inside could have set it.
And those are definitely questions we will ask as soon as we get the chance. As you can see, this neighborhood is blocked off by a tall block wall, I'm guessing 8 feet tall. So our vision was very limited. And we just were kind of relying on what police told us was going on at that point. We heard the flashbangs, though, definitely.
Okay.
It wasn't like we heard the flashbang and immediately a fire broke out. Nothing like that. But there are a lot of moving parts here, so we just don't know how the fire started yet.
Yeah, Brian, I do want to ask about the mom of the child, because she was able to escape this barricade situation, or being held there in that house by this man, and speak with construction crews, call for help, and say that she was worried about the child. But was she injured, and what happened to her? Was she taken to a hospital, or do you know anything about that?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. She is with the baby. I should have mentioned that. She is with her child now. Police say she has minor injuries. I don't know exactly how she got out of the house, but she was in there 3 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., so for many hours, not to mention the trauma. She immediately told police she was afraid for her child. We don't know how she got out by herself and was unable to get the child. Maybe he was holding on to the child. I do not know. But she managed to get out and has minor injuries and is with her child in the hospital at this time.
Brian, are you getting any indication that for the child, the 6-month-old, that these gunshots are survivable? What kind of condition? Do we know anything about the baby's condition other than we know it's grave?
Well, they just said several gunshot wounds. They didn't say where, and they said serious condition, which gives me some hope that they didn't use the word critical or extremely critical, as they often do. So I guess, you know, there is hope there. The officer did say those exact words. They got the baby out to at least have hope that the child would survive.
Brian, do we know anything about what it looks like now moving forward with the SWAT team and police and everyone that was there for this initial situation that turned into a fire? Now the home, we're looking at aerials here, and it's just smoke, and the home is gutted. I mean, there's nothing left there, but I wonder what their plan will be now. Have they pushed back a little bit, or what they'll do here?
Yeah, you know, once the fire broke out, you could see the SWAT teams. They're still dressed up in their gear and all their equipment right beside that. They moved back where we could see a few of them anyway, and they were just, what could they do? They were standing there watching the fire like the rest of us. So I think this fire put everything else on hold. Again, the baby and the mom are out of there. Those are the two main concerns. They are away from this fire. And so now I'm guessing it's a wait and see, let the fire burn out. And then, yeah, they're going to have to go back in there and see if there is a man in there, if he's still alive. If not, that I imagine will happen fairly soon, because it looks like the fire is close to being out, maybe within the next hour or two, I'm guessing.
Yeah, from the aerials, Brian, that would be, I would say, safe to say, unsurvivable for the gunman, the man inside who held the baby and the mother. Can we back up a little bit to 11:30 when this all started? This is a kind of classic domestic violence issue, right? That's how this all started. And she was not able to break out and make a call and get help for 6 hours or so.
Yeah, and that is not his home. It is her home. She lived there with the baby. She I'm guessing, probably just moved in here, because these are all new houses. Probably just moved in, and he broke in, according to police, and things escalated from there. Police said she was held hostage all that time, and called it a very traumatic experience for her, as I'm sure it was. And at some point, she felt like the only option she had was to get out and get someone to call police so they could get in there and get her child. And that, again, is the suspect is the father of the child, we are told.
And we believe in that home somewhere, probably dead. And we don't know what the cause
we
would
believe.
Be. Either the fire may have taken his own life, we don't know.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Brian Webb.
But we will we'll keep on it.
Yes.
We'll bring you more as soon as we get it.
Yeah, we'll let you get more information. We'll check in with you a little bit later.
Brian, thank you.
All right, here's what's coming up. Let's see.
Still ahead, a fight night in oversight. How a House committee hearing at the U.S. Capitol descended into complete chaos.
Plus, a search for suspected thieves. What historical items this man and woman are accused of stealing from a national park when we come back.